Right now on Good Morning America First Look, breaking news. Two devastating earthquakes rock Venezuela, collapsing buildings, including part of a major airport. A search now for victims in the rubble. The death toll rising.
President Trump cancels his plan to sign a bipartisan affordable housing bill. What he wants done instead, and the political victory he's now scored after a shouting match on Capitol Hill.
Midair scare. An airline pilot becomes incapacitated in the cockpit. The reaction from passengers. And a separate emergency in the air. This crash landing caught on camera.
Overnight, a massive fire forcing evacuations in the Northeast.
A former youth pastor now charged with murder 20 years after his wife's deadly fall at a national park.
After her recent health struggles, Dolly Parton's message as she launches her latest venture.
The World Cup frenzy growing. Team USA back in action tonight.
And what we've learned about the world's oldest soccer ball dating back to the 1500s.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Batal. Let's get right to the breaking news. The devastating earthquakes hitting Venezuela.
Dozens of people were confirmed dead overnight, hundreds injured, and sadly, those numbers are expected to rise.
This morning, concern about aftershocks after two powerful earthquakes rocked Venezuela, hitting less than a minute apart. The first, a 7.2 magnitude quake.
An earthquake just shook the entire building.
Then, 39 seconds later, and just miles away, a 7.5 quake. People fleeing into the streets of Caracas, buildings swaying, smoke plumes rising from the city. Crowds gathering around collapsed buildings, told to keep silent as first responders yelled out to people buried in the rubble. Victims pulled from beneath buildings. Officials warning the casualties could be high. This video shows part of the Caracas airport collapsing in a cloud of dust. People still inside. The quakes are the largest to hit Venezuela in more than a century. The last 24 hours have seen smaller earthquakes from Japan to the U.S. This 5.6 magnitude quake hitting Northern California. Wine bottles and groceries flying off shelves at this store in Upper Lake.
I was shaking from head to toe. My hands were shaking. I was watching wine bottles drop and just break and the wine go everywhere. It felt like it lasted for 20 minutes.
The quake lasted 30 seconds and was felt as far as San Jose, 180 miles to the south. And across the Pacific, a 6.9 magnitude quake struck off the coast of Japan. No major damage was reported there. Experts say there's no indication the seismic events are related. As for Venezuela, the State Department says the U.S. will send search and rescue teams, saying the U.S. stands with the Venezuelan people.
Officials have confirmed 32 deaths and 700 injuries. Those numbers are expected to rise.
A political victory for President Trump. Two Republicans who voted to restrict Trump's war powers have now changed their vote. One of those senators was reportedly in a shouting match with Trump yesterday. The dispute coming as the president refused to sign an affordable housing bill. ABC's Karen Hua has the details. Karen, good morning.
Good morning, Hannah. It was a big surprise. The president refused to sign that landmark bill to address the affordable housing crisis. But at least some of the chaos on Capitol Hill was apparently smoothed over late last night. President Trump last night kicked off the Great American State Fair, part of the America 250th birthday celebrations getting underway.
We are one people, one nation, marching into one magnificent future.
But hours earlier, a shouting match on Capitol Hill as the president met with Republicans behind closed doors. Sources say Trump lashed out at senators who had voted symbolically to limit his war powers. Trump reportedly calling Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy a lunatic.
He asked, why would anybody vote for the War Powers Act? As he continued, I said, is that a rhetorical question? Or would you like to really know? He said, I'd like to know. I stood and said, you have not told the American people what's going on.
Cassidy, who recently lost his re-election bid, admits losing his temper.
I'm not going to be bullied. I'm trying to get answers for the American people.
The meeting was held after Trump abruptly canceled plans to sign a bipartisan affordable housing bill.
We just passed something that we're all proud of. Trump blew it up.
The bill would restrict Wall Street investors from buying single-family homes and would reduce red tape to make it easier to build new housing. Trump's own press secretary called it one of the most significant pieces of housing affordability legislation in American history. But Trump yesterday dismissed the issue as a matter of minor importance and demanded Congress first sign his voter ID bill, which would require Americans to show proof of citizenship to register to vote. That bill is stalled in the Senate. Trump also tackling another issue, gas prices. He's asking the Justice Department to investigate whether oil companies are price gouging, keeping prices at the pump high even as oil prices fall in the wake of the Iran peace deal.
The oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be. We should be, in my opinion, at $2.25 right now at the pump, and we're higher than that.
As for that shouting match with senators, apparently the president and Cassidy smoothed things over last night. In a total 180, Senator Cassidy changed his vote on the War Powers Resolution after getting a special briefing about the Iran war in the Situation Room. Cassidy says the briefing addressed his concerns. Rand Paul was the other Republican senator who changed his vote. Sophie?
Karen, thank you. President Trump insists that vandals are to blame for the algae and peeling paint at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. And now police are asking for the public's help to identify the person in this video, apparently reaching into the water. They issued this bulletin with photos from an alleged incident last Friday. Meanwhile, Democrats are requesting information from the contractor who painted the pool during the $16 million renovation.
We turn now to an emergency in the cockpit on a flight from New Jersey.
New details on what passengers describe as terrifying moments as the pilot of this Air Canada flight from New Jersey suffered a medical episode in midair.
Pilot is incapacitated. Aircraft is being flown by the co-pilot.
It all started when the plane suddenly swerved.
The moment the plane swerved, I knew something was wrong because it was not turbulence. It really felt like someone had jolted the controls, and that it happened over and over again.
The pilot experiencing what witnesses describe as a seizure that lasted 40 minutes, though a diagnosis has not been confirmed. Passengers jumping in to help after they say a flight attendant dragged the pilot out of the cockpit into the aisle, trying to restrain him.
Myself and about 4 others worked to get him under control. It was a fairly strenuous 40 minutes of keeping him down.
The co-pilot taking over. The flight, headed to Nova Scotia, forced to land in Boston. Video from our Boston station, WCVB, shows first responders taking the pilot out of the plane on a stretcher to the hospital. Thousands of miles away, another scare in the air. This small plane crash landing in rural Alaska. Everyone on board quietly, without panic, bracing for impact, as the pilot found a clearing to safely bring down the plane after an engine issue.
Something went wrong with the plane and had an emergency crash landing out here in the bush.
That long trench left in the dirt, the only mark of what could have been a disaster.
Everyone's safe, and that's what matters. Thank you. Thank you.
As for the pilot who suffered that medical episode, experts say if someone appears to be having a seizure, they should not be restrained. They should be turned on their side while keeping their airway clear.
A major shift in the fight over building data centers for artificial intelligence. The top Democrat on the House Energy and Commerce Committee is now supporting a nationwide freeze on building them until environmental and utility regulations are in place. The idea could get traction if Democrats take control of the House this fall.
A wildfire burning in southwest Utah could be the most destructive in state history. The Cottonwood fire has spread to 61,000 acres, destroying a ski resort and forcing the evacuation of homes. Drought conditions and high winds are fueling this fire. Overseas, at least 50 deaths are now blamed on the record heat wave in France. Many people without AC at home cooled off by jumping into a canal in Paris. Time now for your Thursday forecast.
Good morning. The severe storm threat stuck over the Front Range of the Rockies and the Plains again. More showers extend from the Ohio Valley into the Northeast, down to the I-95 corridor tonight into tomorrow morning, and it's fire danger and heat in the west. There's your level 2 out of 5 severe threat from Denver all the way to Wichita, Springfield down to Amarillo. Damaging winds, some large hail a possibility. The fire danger continues into the west into the weekend. Red flag warnings in Utah. Extreme heat to the south with triple-digit temperatures. That heat starts to move east as we go into next week and close to July 4th. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News Senior Meteorologist meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, the stalking case involving a WNBA star.
Also ahead, the alleged member of a dangerous cult now charged with 2 murders, raising new questions about the notorious group.
And later, Dolly Parton returns to the public spotlight, cutting the ribbon on her latest venture. Back with a massive fire in Pennsylvania, dozens of firefighters racing to this commercial building in Allentown. Parts of the roof and floors collapsing. Nearby residents losing power, urged to evacuate the area, but no reported injuries.
An alleged member of a dangerous cult is now charged with murder. That means 2 more deaths are now linked to this notorious group across multiple states. Here's ABC's Andrew Fujii.
This morning, a woman believed to belong to a cult-like group called the Zizians is under arrest, charged in her parents' murders.
Took her mother to her childhood playroom and executed her.
Prosecutors say Rita and Richard Psycho were shot in their suburban Philadelphia home on their daughter, Michelle's, birthday back on New Year's Eve 2022.
We have lived with unspeakable grief and sorrow.
Prosecutors say her mother had texted Michelle that day saying she was sorry for the rift that had grown between them. That text went unanswered, but officials say a few hours later, a car pulled up and at least 2 people getting out, one allegedly yelling, "Mom," before going in.
We know Michelle Zyko was with the killers, to the extent that she wasn't the one that actually pulled the trigger. She was certainly aligned with those that did.
An affidavit claims Michelle is linked to the Zizians, described by authorities as a cult that shares radical beliefs about veganism, animal rights, and gender identity. They're now linked to 6 deaths in 3 states, including the killing of a Border Patrol agent during a highway shootout in Vermont last year.
I followed a lot of bizarre cases, a lot of horrifying cases. What makes this one particularly odd is it's still unclear even now, what everyone's up to. What's the goal here? Why is this happening? Why are people dead? What are they trying to achieve?
Psycho, who was living in Vermont, has denied killing her parents.
Authorities say no weapon has been found in her parents' murders, but investigators say shell casings at the scene match ammunition found at a firing range in Michelle's backyard in Vermont. Hannah, Sophie.
Andrea, thank you. A man is under arrest accused of stalking a WNBA star. Prosecutors say Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham received threatening and explicit messages from 48-year-old Kevin Singh. He also allegedly sent her a package. He is set to appear in court today.
Coming up, the country music star accused of trashing his hotel room is now off the hook.
Also ahead, the World Cup frenzy reaching new heights.
To the net. Back now with the Coast Guard helicopter crew recovering an injured hiker. Officials in Washington state say she fell 120 feet down a gully on Mount Larrabee. Took crews 40 minutes to find her, but she is expected to be okay.
A former Las Vegas youth pastor is due in court today, facing charges in his wife's murder 20 years after she fell to her death. David Vandermeer and his wife Bernadette were hiking in Zion National Park when she died. It was ruled an accident at the time, but investigators now believe he pushed her. Court documents claim he was in a relationship with an underage girl. He has yet to respond to the charges.
Charges have been dropped against a country singer accused of trashing a hotel room. New Mexico prosecutors say Bailey Zimmerman has made full restitution. He was accused of causing $16,000 in damages at a resort in Albuquerque.
Let's turn now to the World Cup frenzy. Team USA back in action tonight as fans from around the world visiting the U.S. spread their joy of the game and American food and culture.
Team USA now just hours from what they hope will be a 3rd straight win in their historic start to the World Cup. They've already qualified for the next stage of the tournament.
We're at a wonderful position right now where we're playing great football. We also got a group full of guys who are competitors.
While Team USA is advancing, Scotland's dreams are hanging by a thread after losing to Brazil. Scottish fans' enthusiasm has been contagious. Thousands taking to the streets before last night's match in Miami, wearing kilts, marching through the streets.
The Tartan Army has taken over South Beach. I have never seen Ocean Drive look like this before.
Last week in Boston, Scots nearly drank the city's pubs dry. The Scots even showing up to baseball games.
But they're also having fun taking over these towns and these ballparks.
They're not the only ones showing an interest in America's pastime.
Row.
Norway's fans took their signature rowing move to baseball stadiums. Danny got a first-hand lesson in how to properly pull it off. Soccer fans from around the world now discovering American sports, culture, and food.
I had to get a waffle for the last hour while I'm in here. Yes, it's drenched in butter. Yes, it's drenched in syrup.
I don't care. The trouble I'm in with my wife now, this is the best experience of my entire life, including my wedding.
As for Team USA, their match against Turkey kicks off tonight at 10 Eastern.
Coming up, the new bare bones pickup truck. No radio, no power windows. We'll tell you what it costs.
Plus, the new scoop about Taylor Swift's wedding. Time to check the pulse. We begin with Dolly Parton making a surprise appearance opening her new truck stop.
Yeah, she cut the ribbon yesterday on Dolly's Tennessean travel stop in Cornersville, Tennessee. The crowd was, of course, delighted to see her after her recent health struggles. She mentioned travel stop competitor Buc-ee's when she addressed the crowd.
Well, how's everybody doing today out in that hot, boiling sun? I'm sure some of you wondering why I wanted a truck stop. Well, I couldn't leave it to beavers.
Of course, beavers they're referring to Buc-ee's. Dolly said she spent her life traveling and knows what people need on the road. Next, new clues about Taylor Swift's wedding plans.
All signs point to a New York wedding next weekend. An event company has filed a permit requesting a street closure near Madison Square Garden. There's also a request for a canopy that could be used to shield guests, but some are skeptical, saying it could be a ruse. Next, a bare bones new pickup truck. No radio, no power windows.
So Slate has revealed the starting price for its new electric pickup, just under $25,000. Options can be added, but you'll have to pay for those. Next, Grand Theft Auto 6 finally has a price and some aren't happy.
The standard edition will cost $80. Analysts say a title this big could make $80 the new standard price for video games. And finally, an old guest at the World Cup.
Yeah, the Scottish team brought it here. It's the world's oldest soccer ball, dating back to the 16th century, from the days of Mary, Queen of Scots, who apparently was a soccer fan.
Top headlines next. Checking more top stories, twin earthquakes have rocked Venezuela, collapsing buildings around the capital and killing dozens of people. The quakes hit less than a minute apart, burying people in rubble.
An NFL player is due in court today facing robbery and kidnapping charges. Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold is accused of holding 3 men at gunpoint. He denies the allegations. He could face life in prison if convicted of all charges.
Bodie Miller's attorney says drug charges have been dropped against the former Olympic skier. He was arrested during a traffic stop. He claims his friend had marijuana. Police accused Miller of having mushrooms.
Another new drug has been approved by the FDA to replace chemo for aggressive breast cancer treatment. The drug from Gilead Sciences will be used as a first treatment for newly diagnosed patients.
Today's weather, sunny in the northeast, dry in the south, severe storms in the Midwest, fire warnings and extreme heat in the west.
And finally, one proposal that came as a real surprise.
Here's Danny New.
Which is the better way to propose to your sweetheart? During a 10-day trip to Italy? Or, as one man recently decided, right after the 10-hour flight home?
We've provoked a lot of discourse around what a proposal should look like.
Over the past few weeks, Sydney and Joe have picked up millions of views online after Joe felt proposing during their vacation abroad would be too obvious. Instead, he opted for when Sydney would be exhausted, in sweatpants, and without any makeup on.
I wanted it to be very surprising, which it's hard to really surprise her.
I'm a detective.
One commenter on TikTok writing, "I can't believe this is real," and another guessing he forgot the ring at home. But no, Joe had a whole plan. They went to Italy for a wedding, and he even deliberately bought Sydney a new pair of shoes there to make her think the proposal was coming.
I put the shoes on her, and she thought a ring would pop out, and we just went to dinner.
Joe, that is maniacal.
I wanted her to be surprised.
Meanwhile, their two best friends, Haley and Jonathan, were in their apartment back in New York, setting up candles, sunflowers, balloons, and most importantly, the Ring camera.
We did some practice runs, seeing how it would look from every angle. So I got on one knee and Haley pretended to react.
So when they finally made it home, Sydney's parents and friends were watching live from afar as she romantically exclaimed,
"After a fight? What's wrong with you?"
However, then they shared an intimate moment in their home, which, despite what many online are assuming,
It was perfect. It was totally us.
Guys, they already set a date for next year, and also many commenters online have started photoshopping the proposal picture to instead be in front of some of the most beautiful backdrops in the Amalfi Coast. So they have both pictures now.
That is too good, Danny. Thank you. And that's your Good Morning America First Look.
Have a great day.